for having me. Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen to us talk. So my topic's websites. This is actually a really broad topic to talk about. So as you kind of start to see the topics here, one of the things that keeps resonating is audience. It's really about knowing your audience. How many people here have been to a Whole Foods? We've all kind of walked in at some point. You get to the fresh produce area, and what do you see? Chalkboards with everything written in chalk. And the reason for that, that's not done just ad hoc. That's done specifically because it's paying a nod back to the fresh food markets that we saw walk through. You picture the fresh food market, and it's kind of making it feel like it's a fresh food market that you walk into. I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in the Midwest. I was born on the East Coast. We don't have the luxury that we have here in Seattle, where we have these fresh food markets, and on a weekend we can go and pick up our local produce. And so they're giving a nod back to that, and they're enjoying and providing a wonderful experience to their audience that's coming in there, and their audience is looking for fresh food. And so really knowing your audience and sort of playing that through the entire experience. The reason why I'm kind of starting really broad is because the website's just a part of that experience. There are a lot of elements that make up that experience. How many people here have been to Home Depot? What's the experience like? You have to buy one part. You walk into the store. There's 25 aisles.
It's Nirvana.
Times 2. It's a whole other set. And what do? If you're like me, you aimlessly walk around looking for this one part. Think 10 years ago, that was actually a really good experience because we didn't have anything else to go to. I was stuck going to this big box. I had everything I needed, and I would spend an hour looking for one screw that should have taken me 2 minutes. It shouldn't have been that long. So what changed? Google, Bing, Yahoo. Now, somebody goes in and they quickly say, I want this screw, and it comes back with all these results, right? It's not like I was at Home Depot and all of a sudden I could walk outside and there was a screw store right next door. And then I can walk outside and there was a plumbing store and I can go get what I wanted. It would take me all of 2 minutes. I don't need to aimlessly walk around now. The navigation in that experience is poor because I'm used to something better. When people come to your website, it's the same thing. They should be able to understand and how to easily get around what you're offering. They should be able to know where they're at all times, and it should work. This is something that should happen for both B2B and B2C. I know we're kind of looking at this differently, and there's different people here that are for different experiences, but there's some inherent things that we should think about. And one of them really is the navigation of your experience. When someone walks in and someone spends time in your store on your experience, what do you want them to get out of this? What's the purpose? Why should they care? And that's something you should really think about, because at the end of the day, a poor experience doesn't cut it anymore. If there were 1,000 Home Depots, then that's great. The first time another store opens up that's not a Home Depot and gives me what I want, I'm done. If every single city in America had a food market, and I could go every single day, I think there's going to be a little change in the marketing plans and the online experience and the in-store experience of a whole food setting experience. They found an audience, and they found a market, and they found a niche. As you start to evolve and you understand what your audience is, I think one of the biggest things you should think about is confusion kills conversion. Right? Once you introduce the element of confusion, you've killed it. It's the bottom line. And that makes its way all the way through everything you do in this experience, your navigation, the copy that you write. No one wants to hear you babble. No one wants to hear me babble. You guys showed up this morning, so you get to enjoy it. But really, at the end of the day, your copy should be written in a way that it gets the message across. It resonates with your audience. Imagine if you walked into a restaurant. You walk into a Mexican restaurant. Sit down, and there are certain things we would expect: chips and salsa, negro modelo, Coronas, quesadillas. What if there's a section that had Chinese food? What's the first thing you're going to think about? What kind of restaurant am I in here? Now, wait a second, there's this whole area. They must not really be good at Mexican food if now I can get General Tso's chicken at the same time. Something's kind of weird here. And all of that starts to make its way through this whole experience that you're looking at. Imagery. Imagery is huge in the experience. We did we were talking about dentistry stuff. And a long time ago, we worked on this project, and this gentleman wanted to build out a platform for dentists. And his particular audience was really, really rich people in this particular area part of Florida, because what he offered did not provide, insurance did not cover it. So this is a niche market, and he was so proud of the office and some of the other stuff that really just didn't care. But the biggest thing that he wanted to show, you ever seen the pictures when they have the teeth pried all the way open and show? How many people can't wait to get to the dentist after they see a picture? And his point was, well, it's the before and after. And my point was, that's disgusting. I don't want to look at that. I want to see somebody who's got a pretty smile. I want to look at somebody else and go, I want to look like that. Not, I don't want to look like that. Right? But that was because he was so focused on what he was offering, he forgot to think about the audience. Really, the audience is looking for an experience. They're looking for something from you. They're looking for your message. What makes you different? Why should I care? You have a few seconds of my time. Give me something. Give me something that wants to give you 10 seconds of my time and maybe a couple minutes. And possibly drive me to come to your experience or to buy from you online. As you start to build out items, one may wonder, does something like this even work? Could all the imagery, the message, and the navigation really make a difference? And how do you figure out what at the core someone's really interested in? We did an online experience. Does anyone know what baby lights is? Anyone's got like kids, right? A lady by the name of Nicole started this experience. And what she had done is she had a daughter, and the daughter had baby rash quite often, a diaper rash. So she let her daughter crawl around, and what she did is she started making tube socks, and she cut the ends off, and she made them, and she decorated them up, and she let her baby crawl around on it, and it started to resonate. People at the parks would notice, and they'd want to buy this, and she took this experience, she used her parents' credit card, she racked up $12,000, and all the product, and she'd sell it off, and then she'd do it again, and she'd sell it off, and she'd do it again, and she built this up to several $1 million business. But she had hosted the online experience over time. And what we did is we found out, we spent time understanding what the audience was looking for and what resonated. No one wanted to buy baby legs. They wanted Nicole. It was her story. She resonated. There were competition that were half price and a third of the price of what she was offering. But it was her story that resonated. So it might not necessarily be your product, but there's something about you, there's something about your company that resonates. So fast forward about a year before they did work with us, they made about $250,000 online in a year. A year after working with us, they did it in a weekend. We weren't selling baby legs. We were selling Nicole. By the way, there were baby legs if you wanted, but we were selling Nicole. We were selling the story. And that was the experience that resonated. Most of us don't have the luxury of a full design and a development firm that can keep running, keep things going for you. And so you should start to look at ways to implement and ways to deploy this. One of the big things now are content management systems. They've been popular, past couple of years, but they're actually a little more user-friendly now. And there's some large-scale sites that are designed and developed on it. The White House site is actually on WordPress. We've done lots of large-scale experiences that are deployed on WordPress. Recently, do you guys know what Claxton is? The online face brush scrubber, premium product. So for those of you that don't know, several years ago there was a group of guys that came out with this new sonic cleaning experience, sonic toothbrush. And it worked well, and they sold it off to Philips, and they made a lot of money, and they waited for their non-compete to come out. They took that same experience and they extended it and made their face exfoliating brush. And they had this very absolutely gorgeous product. It works. People that use it love it. But it's about $300 to buy it, which for a face product, it's a little spendy, but this is a market that's willing to spend money on stuff like this if there's a problem. If they have a problem, there's a solution. And on their online experience, on the homepage, they had a buy now button. So one of the first things you saw, which from a business sounds like a really good idea, right? I want people to buy. Anyone here just like to give companies money for no reason, just for fun? No? Okay. So really what happens is The people that are coming to the site were looking for an answer to their solution, to their problem. They're looking for the solution. So we took a step back. We started to figure out what that was. We actually extended the buying process and that experience. Most people come to you and say, well, I took it from 5 clicks to 3. All right, great, really, what did that do? Did more people buy your product? Did more people sign up? What we actually found out in this case is this was a premium product. This needed to be explained. The audience needed to be walked through an experience so that by the time they got to the purchase, it had sold itself. Within 30 days of launch, we went at 58% conversion product, 300% conversion of consumables. They're about a $110 million a year company before they sold to L'Oreal. They understood what the audience was looking for. They spoke to the audience. We designed a navigation and architecture that allowed that audience to find the product that they were looking for, and were able to purchase when they were ready. And that was implemented on a content management solution. Their staff can do all the updates. They never have to call us again. Everything can be handled that way. The e-commerce solutions all on the thing. It all ties back into all their back-end systems. And anyone inside that company, if they were smart, they'd block accounts. Not everybody, but anyone inside that company can easily go and update and make any changes that they want to. So the last thing I want to leave you guys with is think really closely about your audience and what they're doing. 42% of people now have a smartphone. Our experiences have now changed. 10 years ago, I used to know where you were. You were at home or you were at your office. That's where you were looking at your online experiences. Any experience we produced, any experience that was out there. Those were your 2 spots. So I knew your mental model. I knew what you were up to. Had a good sense of the form factor you were using. They designed it. Well, now you've got tablets. How many people here have a tablet? How many people have a smartphone? The statistic is 2013 or 2015 is selling more smartphones than anything else. So it's different. The #1 mistake people make when they start to deploy over to a mobile experience is they take everything that was online and they shove the whole thing right on their website onto the mobile experience. And that's about the worst thing you could do. Do you really think that people with their smartphone walking to find your store would really want to know your company history? Or do they just want to know where you're located, what your store hours are, and maybe if you've got a coupon, maybe if there's a quick roll-up of the 4 services you're offering to your service provider, just so that you're top of mind. They don't care who the management is, unless the management chain happens to have one of the top leading industry luminaries, but they would have seen that on their own experience at home or at the office. You don't need to replicate it. So think about where your audience, think about what they're doing, where they're at, and what they really care about. And make sure everything else resonates. Your site's designed in a way that speaks to them. The architecture, the navigation is put together in a way that they know where they're at. They know how to get to everything. They can find their way around. They're not aimlessly walking up and down the Home Depot aisle looking for that screw when you find out it's 4 aisles over. You have about 3 seconds. People are going to leave. Copy. That should all tie back. What's your message? Why should any of us care to read what you have to say? Is there something there that I should get away from? Is there something I should understand? Maybe it's not your voice. Maybe I want to hear your customer's voice. Maybe I want to hear your solution. Maybe I want to hear reviews. Figure out what you're providing out to an audience and show that. Make sure your imagery speaks that. Don't buy cheesy stock photos. As best you can, do real imagery. There's a human element here. Show it off and make it live on your site. If you're selling a product, if you can, get a really good picture of that. If you can't, then don't do it. We've all seen photos on sites for restaurants, and you're like, I wouldn't want that. It looks washed out, it looks disgusting. If you can't get a professional photographer to take you good photo shots of your food, then don't show them, because it's actually just going to turn it off. But if you can go that route, do it. Look at those strings over here. If you guys have specific, guitars or elements that are just resonate really well, that's really going to drive the audience in, get a photograph that's really well done of that. Speak to the details of it. Don't speak too many of the details unless you know the audience really wants to see that. Like Apple. Have you ever been to Apple's website? How hard is it to find really, really defined technical details of any of their products? You have to do some serious digging. It's there, but you have to dig. And it's because the majority of their audience doesn't care. The majority of their audience is looking for an experience. They're not looking to find out how much RAM and the processing speed of the iPad is. They want to know that they can show their photographs to their grandkids on the couch and everyone have fun with it. That's really what it is. And then think about a strong implementation solution, a content management system or something along the lines of those. And then deploy it. Any questions? Good questions at the end? Okay. Thank you for your time.